I find it so humorous. Only, I don't know how to explain this humor from my side. You must understand that when May comes after 31st March, there appears to be a lot of people, traveling to Africa or to, some other countries, like Livingstone did during the 18th century. So the reason being that people think that with the taxation problem is wading through the African jungles, unknown parts of Amazon, and through Sarawak during the 17th or the 16th centuries. I don't understand why one should be so worried about the taxation, and there are seminars held, talks held, there are discussions. There's no necessity at all. Taxation is a very simple, elementary matter. It's a question of when you use the services of a nation, you pay for the services of the nation. Simple. It is as elementary as that. Why should there be such a hullabaloo about taxation, taxation, taxation? What should be the don'ts? What should be the do's? Why should not be the do's? Why not the don'ts? And I understand in the earlier periods when India was just starting on its perilous journey after being raped by a colonial government, and at that time we had no resources, and the government was putting in, by bringing in, I would say, the Income Tax Act, and trying to ascertain what will be the levels at which they should operate to earn revenue for the government. Income tax and every type of tax is a source of revenue for the government. It is not a whipping boy for every ball the Indians to feel so scared of it. We have been trained to think that the government is a bully and we are being bullied to pay tax. No, the government is not a bully. The government is there to do service to you, and therefore to do the service it requires money, and one of these sources is taxation. So why are we so het upon looking at taxation as a big burden on your shoulders, like Atlas carrying the earth on his shoulders? It is not so. We can make it so easy. Well, in the past, and I would say from the 1960s or 1965, the government was positioning itself, introducing acts, removing acts, adding, deleting, adding this subsection, that subsection, etc., etc., because it was trying to find, trying to find a foothold. So that because we were on a precipice, what was the precipice? We had no money, we had no funds, we had nothing, we had no food, we are being attacked by enemies all over, by east, west, north and south, except for the south, I would say, sorry, east and west and north. The south was at least, relatively, there was no attacks on, we had the LTT problem later. But at that period during the 1960s, we had a terrible time in the north. We had everything, every source of, making India remain at its level at when the British left us. And so the government had to apply its thinking hat, look at methodology by which it will be able to generate the revenue and provide services to the Indian public. Yes, I would say some of them were draconian, some of them were dumb acts, some of them were dumb statements, insertions of sections, inserts of subsection, this subsection read with that subsection. It was a confusing, I would say it was a maze. The reason being that we had no understanding of how we are going to put the money into the hands of the people and how we are going to get it back from them without being treated as a bully. But what happened was that the Indian people were not used to pay distinctive taxes. They were, I would say they were just, in a way, I would say they were in what you call, they were head clerks. All Indians were head clerks. They were only serving the British government. So when the independence happened, it was a huge void for the Indians. What was the void? The void was they did not know how to use that freedom. Yes, we got freedom. We were out of the British yoke and we were no longer a colony. But we did not know how to use that. The void was so huge, it was like a vacuum. How could we needed to fill the vacuum. And we had, what do you call this, these people from East Pakistan and West Pakistan, refugees pouring into India. All these required revenues. And for that, generating the revenue, the government started this Income Tax Act in 1961. I understand from 1961 to 1990s, it was, and or even say to 1997, 1998, there was a lot of discussion, books, huge books of 3,000 pages, 4 volumes used to be printed to discuss each one of those sections, interpret those sections, apply those sections. All that was there because we were going from one very low level to a higher level. And we were trying to jump a couple of steps ahead every time. Instead of going step by step, we are trying to jump 2 steps at a time. And yes, there were slip-ups. Some of them were, were not agreeable to the Indian psyche. I understand all that. It was there. It was, we need to apply our mind to bring some of to strengthen the weaknesses in the system. When I say strengthen the weaknesses in the Income Tax Act, what I'm trying to say is the act was loose. It was what you call, in certain ways, it was not in coherence with the requirements of what the government was thinking towards the public. But when it was put across to the public, it was found to be very harsh. And that harshness had to be smoothened out. But it was very difficult to smoothen out because you had to pass the budget at every session of the parliament at a particular period of time, and that continued, and the amendments had to be introduced slowly over a period of time. So the amendments, how did the amendments come through? Because of various discussions, various forums used to bring eminent speakers like Nani Palkiwala, who were authorities on taxation, to understand the nuances, where the weakness was, why this section was being disputed so heavily, and why it was taken up to the Supreme Court, to the Appellate Court. Why? Because this particular section was not in line with what the requirements of the people wanted vis-a-vis the government. Now, there were people sitting in rooms and not understanding the factual position deep down in the society. That is why we had a lot of these problems from the 1960s to the late 1990s. But today, the act has been so well structured, formulated, loose ends have been tied up, and all those draconian sections have been removed, and they are trying to still smoothen it out so that the country as a whole benefits and the people will be able to do their taxation without any hassle. But I am still wondering why the people are still living in the 1960s. They should move out of the 1960s and come into the 21st century or 22nd, I would say 22nd century. Because everything is online. You're having faceless assessment, you're having assessments are over within one day. So why is this psyche of saying, no, you should do this, don't do this, have a seminar, discuss this point, this is the ITR, that is the ITR. Well, they are trying to do the ITR according to how far it will be helpful for the people of India. How you will be able to use the knowledge gained over a period of time to minimize the effort put in by the people to file a return. The government wants you to make it as easy as possible, and over a period of time, they want to make it as is to say, this is your income for the year. Do you think it is okay with you? Okay, thank you very much. We are out. You're out. Finished. File your return. Bye bye. Thank you very much. We have no relationship. Now that is what the government is focusing on. I think I shall discuss it further as we go. Thank you very much.